Now we move on to our special report on dirty dining. A KITV investigation has revealed because of budget cuts, Oahu restaurants undergo health inspections only once every 2 years. Now, just 3 years ago, inspectors visited restaurants about once a year, but that frequency has decreased because of attrition. Since just 9 inspectors keep an eye on nearly 6,000 Oahu eateries, restaurant inspectors say it's a frustrating situation.
You see them improving and moving along, and then you see them again maybe like a year and a half to 2 years, and then they're falling back again. Yeah, so then you have to start all over again.
This past legislative session, lawmakers passed a bill that would have raised Health Department restaurant permit fees to fund more inspections and create an internet-based inspection and reporting process. Now, the proposal would have boosted the average restaurant permit fee from just $52 to roughly $300 a year, doubling the number of inspectors and paying for a new computerized reporting system. The governor vetoed the proposal. Unlike many mainland cities and counties, restaurant inspections are still handwritten in Hawaii, and the public has to pay 50 cents a page to get copies for them. Now, joining us now to talk more about restaurant inspections is Peter Oshiro. He's the Sanitation Branch Supervisor for the Department of Health. Good morning, Peter, and thank you so much for joining us. Very interesting report that Keoki Kerr did last night, and just wanted to go further into it. Why are these inspections so frequent, and why should the public be concerned about it?
Well, the infrequency of inspections is due to a lack of staffing right now. Again, as you mentioned, we have 9 inspectors that are responsible for over 5,700 establishments. So this equates to a workload of about 625 establishments or so for every inspector. The recommended workload through FDA, they recommend 150 establishments per inspection. So this, of course, hurts our inspection frequency. And we are at probably between 2 and 2.5 years between routine inspections.
So once these inspectors are leaving the Department of Health, they're just not being replaced because of a funding issue?
Correct. And we've lost positions over the years through budget cuts in the past. So it's, again, been very difficult to obtain funding.
What would it take to increase the number of inspectors and get this online system in place, as we had mentioned?
Well, I guess the main thing would be we need to have control of our permit fees and be able to use it for our operations instead of relying solely on the general fund for all our funding issues. As you know, the state is having a very hard budget time, and that's contributed also to our lack of resources. So hopefully if we can get our restaurant permit fees at a reasonable level, then we'll be able to generate the funds that's required to get us, into the 21st century with our inspection systems and our adequate staffing levels.
So the legislature had passed a hike in those permit fees, but the governor vetoed. What would your response be to those restaurant owners who say they just can't afford higher fees and that it would be bad for business?
Well, I think they should look at it from the standpoint they really can't afford not to. The fee we're asking for equates to about 90 cents a day. They still buy them more visits from us, but we're not hammering them over the head with our regulations. We enforce through education. And our 3 inspections a year would provide them an excellent quality control mechanism for their operation, would improve their quality and freshness of their product, and it'll also improve their reputation with the general public as far as providing wholesome, safe foods for the public.
One more question. Overall, how do you think our restaurants are doing in terms of health and safety? You go through some of the reports and you see some pretty disgusting things like rat feces and roaches and that sort of things. I mean, overall, how are the restaurants doing?
Well, overall, most restaurant operators are very cognizant of the fact that they need to keep their place clean and health standards high. But the fact of the matter is if we're not in there, more often than once every 2 and 2.5 years from a regulatory standpoint, compliance is going to be very difficult to be consistent.
All right. Peter Oshiro from the Department of Health, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate all your information this morning.
Thanks for having us.